Brixton is a very multicultural part of South London. It became notorious about 25 years ago because of the riots that took place here. Riots against racist policing and against the poverty which blighted this area in the Thatcher years. While Brixton and inner cities like it across Britain were in flames, the #1 single was a song called Ghost Town by the Specials, a song written by Brixton resident Jerry Dammers. A little bit later on in the 80s, the reggae artist Eddie Grant had a hit with a single called Electric Avenue, named after the road behind me. I've lived in Brixton for over 10 years and I love the place. Behind me is the estate where I live. There's so much I could tell you about Brixton, but I've decided that for the rest of this video report, I'm going to talk about just one of Brixton's former residents. The local government buildings are named after her, and when Brixton got its own money about a year ago, it was Olive Morris that was selected to be on the Brixton pound. So who is Olive Morris? Born in Jamaica in 1952, Olive Morris moved to Brixton when she was 9 years old. In 1968, she joined the British Black Panthers alongside another Brixton resident, Linton Kwesi Johnson. This is how Linton described the Panthers.
It was an organization that came into being to combat racial oppression, to combat police brutality, to combat injustices in the courts against black people, to combat discrimination at the place of work, to combat the miseducation of black youths and black young people. The Black Panther movement was not a separatist organization like Louis Farrakhan's Nation of Islam. We didn't believe in anything like that. Our slogan was Black Power, People's Power. And we also realized that we had to live in the same world as white people, and that if we wanted to make some changes, we had to win some support from the progressive section of the white population.
As well as being in the Black Panthers, Olive Morris campaigned specifically for the concerns of black and Asian women, helping to establish the organisation of women of African and Asian descent. She was also a campaigner for homeless people and for squatters' rights, and in 1973 she successfully forced Lambeth Council to buy an abandoned property on behalf of squatters. In 1975 she decided to study a degree up in Manchester, combining her studies with activism in the Moss Side area. While she was there, she helped to establish the Manchester Black Women's Co-op and the Manchester Black Women Mutual Aid Group. In 1977 she decided to visit China with a delegation of Marxist students from Manchester University, and later that year she completed her studies and returned to Brixton, where she started again to work with community groups. In the words of Arnie DeFranco, you have your whole life to do something, and that's not very long. In the case of Olive Morris, it was tragically short. In 1979 she died from cancer, aged just 27 years old. It's good, if a bit ironic, that the local government buildings and the Brixton pound bear the name Olive Morris. But the best tribute that we could pay to the memory of this particularly inspirational figure would be to continue the fight against racism, against sexism and against homophobia. To continue to campaign for decent housing for all, and by that I mean properly funded council housing. Olive Morris would want us to get stuck into all these campaigns and to continue to fight, as she did, for a better world.